Today, we will learn some new vocabulary that may help you prepare for your GRE and GMAT exams. In this video, we will look at some words beginning with AB. The first word is abhorrence. 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 The definition of abhorrence is a feeling of extreme hate or repulsion. An example of abhorrence would be the feeling that members of Greenpeace have about the slaughter of whales. Some examples of abhorrence are: 1. I could sense Howie's abhorrence at visiting his past. 2. He replied that he had no objections, provided she did not encumber the carriage with bandboxes, which were his utter abhorrence. The next word is abidance. 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 Abidance is the act of abiding or the act of continuing an activity without interruption. Some examples of abidance are: 1. The FDA requires strict abidance by food manufacturers of its definitions for certain terms used on product labels. 2. Dixon was legally bound to not report the assaults at the victim's requests, in abidance with physician-patient privilege. The next word is abject. 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 The definition of abject is something that is very bad or miserable. You might have heard the phrase abject poverty, which is the absolute worst, most hopeless level of poverty you've ever seen. Some examples of abject are: 1. Dobby went scurrying in after him, crouching at the hem of his cloak, a look of abject terror on his face. 2. He died in abject poverty in 1961 at the age of 57 years. The next word is abjure. 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 Abjure means to solemnly renounce a belief, cause or claim, and it applies to something you once believed. Some examples of abjure are: 1. In a sober ceremony, the Mexica abjured their old religion and embraced Christianity. 2. I abjure, curse and detest my errors, he said. The next word is ablution. 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 Ablution is the act of ritual washing of a priest's hands or of sacred vessels. Some examples of ablution are: 1. My father was then led to the back of the cave where an ablution ceremony was held. 2. It was time to perform the evening ablutions. The next word is abortive. 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 Abortive means fruitless or failing. Some examples of abortive: 1. During the War of 1770 the Greeks had risen in an abortive rebellion, promptly crushed by the Turks. 2. Migraine drugs fall into two categories, preventive and abortive. The next word is abound. 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 Abound means to exist in great numbers. An example of abound is to collect a great many collectible stamps or other items. Some examples of abound are: 1. They live in a region where oil abounds. 2. Speculation continued to abound at bird song. The next word is abrogate. 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 Abrogate means to abolish or avoid. When someone cuts in front of you in line, they are abrogating your right to be the next one served. Some examples of abrogate are: 1. Companies are really abrogating responsibility for safety. 2. The government cannot just abrogate contracts, Larry Summers said yesterday. The next word is abstemious. 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 The definition of abstemious is someone who abstains or is moderate, often specifically in their consumption of food and beverage. A person who suffers from anorexia is an example of someone who is abstemious. Some examples of abstemious are: 1. Abstemious in his habits, he possessed great physical endurance. 2. She is known as an abstemious eater and drinker. The last word is absurd. 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 Absurd means ridiculous. A child telling a story about a dinosaur eating their homework is absurd. Some examples of absurd are: 1. The fairest critique of the Bay Area has to do with its absurd housing costs. 2. It's an absurd situation, neither of them will talk to the other.